And good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is VlogsBoutNothin. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy middle of the week schedule to join me. I really appreciate that. To all the new subs and viewers, I slowly see things creeping, you feel me, and in a very generally positive forward direction, and I think that's real cool. So, again, if you're sharing the content in any which way, shape, or form, I do appreciate it. I really do. So yeah, again, I hope the Wednesdays were good for y'all out there. I'll tell you, we won't be having any more like relatively good Wednesdays if we as American consumers allow for the Kroger Albertsons merger to happen. And so that's what we're talking about tonight, I try to choose things that are sort of, not so nerdy or just, not so packed with just so much juicy stuff. Most of it always concerning just, the fellow exploitation of one man on another, as the like pejorative sense, and that like men and women and they, them, everyone included in that, you feel me? Regardless, I don't know, the semantics over where the exploitation is taking place should not really be the discussion so much on is that it actually goes down, And so, yeah, tonight we're going to talk about another instance in something like that. And, half of all of what we say here and half of what all comes out of my mouth, including in real life, is all just a joke anyway. So, let's not get our underwear like ruffled up. I don't know. I've not heard anyone say that in a really long time. I don't know if that's still a thing. Anyways, what an old joke. Sometimes I think maybe we do need a script, to prevent me from saying 100 times in 8 minutes, and also just, I just do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? All right. So, and then I found this maroon colored dude tank top, this muscle shirt. Yeah, there's not any muscles here. I'm just saying, yeah, it's was an undershirt that I was wearing earlier because I had to dress fancy today. Yeah, I've had to dress fancy all week basically, and starting tomorrow I no longer have to. I'm actually very excited about it, only because honestly I don't feel like I have the wardrobe right now to execute the kind of coolness that I'd like to execute, Like there's like that's a thing. I'm joking. Anyways, we're going to talk tonight about the proposed acquisition or the proposed merger rather of Kroger and Albertsons, Here's the thing. Mergers, typically speaking, in a free market, so if we're actually talking about capitalism here, are inherently anti-capitalistic. And follow me. They are inherently anti-capitalistic because they seek to consolidate power while in the process eliminating competition by using the argument that by merging and combining and joining forces, consumers can benefit from lower prices, better efficiency as the supply chain goes, and overall just a better way of functionality. This is, again, wrong in that the places and the companies like Kroger, who, if this goes through, will become the nation's second biggest grocer behind good old Walmart. And I don't like where this is headed. The FTC and 8 states, including the state of New Mexico, link in the description below to both the FTC website, the Federal Trade Commission, as well as an article I think I read on the Arizona News website or something. The point is Kroger is attempting for $25 billion to purchase Albertsons. If that happens, they will then sell the majority of the stores they buy from Albertsons to the company that operates Piggly Wiggly. I love Piggly Wiggly. This conversation should not be about whether or not there should be, more Piggly Wigglies. Because I think we can all definitely agree there should be more Piggly Wigglies. Piggly Wiggly still sells merch to people that have never even seen a Piggly Wiggly from afar IRL. like Piggly Wiggly's got game. I've known, I'm one of my mentors like had a whole career at Piggly Wiggly. That's insane. In that Piggly Wiggly has not been around these parts, where I'm from in Albuquerque, and well on 30 years. I don't know. I mean, I've never been to a Piggly Wiggly here. Didn't know there was one here. I'm only 36. I know I look like a senior citizen. It's real funny. My life's a real funny thing. But regardless, we should not again allow a big company to buy another company to sell some of it to another big company. I mean, you'd think that Kroger could just sell some stores to Piggly Wiggly. I mean, like, why do they have to buy Albertsons? I don't understand. The arguments for which this kind of behavior should be justified are basic at best. I mean, it's one thing if you're a trustworthy, sort of reputable company that operates on high standards and is super accountable, to say that you want to buy other companies out so that you can make the customer's life a lot easier, and that you can expedite ship times or delivery times. Or I mean, sure, it's you I guess sure, let's not argue the facts, right? It's super easy when consolidated to sort of do whatever you want to do and assume all quality controls that you want to. But again, that's inherently anti-capitalistic, because what's a real capitalist? I ask myself this all the time, and I remind myself that regardless of my middle-agedom, or the fact that I'm sandwiched in between four generations that really kind of quite don't really understand what's going on, including this one, I'm just saying the sandwiching, like millennial, right in between Z's, alphas, X's, and boomers. Um, I don't think that this kind of behavior, again, it's not doesn't look out for the consumer. I was going somewhere with that. That was a good one. I had a good joke. Just so that I had a good joke, and it was going, and I was going with it, and then I messed it all up. But I guess, that's what happens. Maybe it'll come back to me. I don't know. I don't know. But regardless, people trying to use the argument that they can make things better for you by making their ways the only way. A real capitalist, oh, I get it now. I know, I remember, and I hope we didn't go too far from that. But okay, so like a real capitalist enjoys competition. They thrive off of competition. They're not interested in merging. Capitalism, again, intrinsically, I mean, as its very core of definition, is not interested in sort of collaboration. And I mean, that's the cool driving force on an individual level, I'd say, as an incentive to get things done. Again, in the social world, right, as a capital socialist, I strongly believe and demand that, like, people collaborate on some level, like, socially speaking, on the very basic of things as far as human rights are concerned. But as a capitalist, all bets are on when it comes to real competition and providing real services that really do good for the community that it operates in. That's not a bad, incentive to run a business off of, in terms of there's no interest here in merging anything. And again, because with merging and with large companies acquiring one another, especially for grocers, okay, so the bad part of that, right, is that if we can't trust the companies that are merging, which we most certainly can't, then we don't really have any benefit to reap as consumers from such an action being allowed to happen. We, in fact, fall more victims to price hikes, to the actual collusion of, price control, and I'm really not interested in that at all. And I don't think that come October, which is when the hearing is set for, that we should allow this merger to continue and move forward. There's a couple $1 billion cash payout for Albertsons from Kroger. You know, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Who your local grocery store is owned by is a big deal. Um, Grocers operate on low margins to begin with, but they're not made to make money. If his grocery stores are open so that they can push food and provide for the community, inherently they're not made to make money. So this is why Walmart is just coming to the grocery game. It's not like they started selling groceries. They never sold groceries until the supercenters were a thing, and that was a thing. You know, it was like a real big deal that Walmart started selling food when they did, because wouldn't you know it, about 20 years later, they are in fact the leading grocer in all of our country. And I've always said this on the program. You should thank somebody from Arkansas for allowing us to eat at such a relatively good price, because otherwise, fools like Kroger would be like the big guys on the block. And trust me, they're not interested in anything other than turning a business model that already has low margins into an impossible business model that will still ultimately only ever have low profit margins. So, I don't really understand. But think about that. Like, if you own all these grocery stores and stuff, you can just nickel and dime fools all day. I mean, legit, you could just, like, raise the price a few cents on most products, and who would ever know? Who would ever know? I'm just saying, you know, some dude out there is like, okay, well, I guess the bananas cost 86 cents a pound today just for that first week. I mean, these guys know what they're doing. And I don't think that it's in our interest to give people that have incentive to do bad stuff the opportunity to do bad stuff. We shouldn't trust them. That's it. You know, they're not to be trusted. So let's not allow this to happen. And go New Mexico for being one of the 8 states that's on the short list of states that are with the FTC in its filing of its grievance as it concerns stopping the merger of Kroger and Albertsons. Again, this guy here is rooting for the FTC and the 8 states, including us here in New Mexico, to make really that stop, because it will hurt us. Ladies and gentlemen, they, them, it will not do anything better for any of us. And because of that, and because we have a say in what may or may not happen, we should definitely not let it happen. I hope that you guys have a really good night, and thanks for watching the channel. Bye.